Well, what's going on, guys? Today I thought I would just kind of do a quick little POV, just review of the car, because I get a lot of questions on how good is a 10th gen SI as a daily driver. So let's go answer some of those questions. First, we can take a little look at the outside. Honestly, I'd put that as one of the first big things about a daily driver, is you want a car that just looks good. And this thing, it just looks really good. There's some loud car somewhere. No, this thing, it just looks so good. I think Honda, oh my goodness. What is so loud? Not this thing, because it's a lawnmower, but Honda just nailed it with the design on these 10th gens. I mean, in this blue, I think it's perfect. Not everybody likes how aggressive they are, but for me, it works phenomenally. So now let's go take it on a little drive and see what happens. First, I would say one of the big things about what you want in a daily driver is how comfortable a car is. And this thing's really comfortable. The suspension isn't too stiff. Now, like, I had a WRX before this that was on some super cheap lowering springs, and it just rode awful. It was not fun to drive long distance. Passengers hated being in it, and it just wasn't that much fun after like a year of owning it. But this, the stock suspension it's tight when you need it to be, but really comfortable on trips and just daily driving. You can hit the little sport mode button here, and it'll tighten up the dampeners a little bit, tighten up the steering, and make it feel a little bit more like a track car. One of the big things is that electronic parking brake. It's weird, I know, but a lot of car manufacturers, they're doing that now. I mean, that's just the way it is, and I've learned to deal with it. I don't mind it as much as I used to not like it at all when I first got the car, but after a year and a half of owning this thing, I've gotten used to it, and it really doesn't affect me anymore. Now let's get this thing on the road. Oh, it's a puppy. What's the puppy doing? Nope. Puppy's not having a good time. Now, as we're kind of doing some starts and stops here, how's the clutch on this thing? It's extremely light. This is such an easy car to drive. I mean, you don't even have to think about it at some point. And every single day, I don't mind it at all. I think it's great. This would be a really good car to learn how to drive manual on or teach somebody. I mean, it's just so easy. It's direct. The transmission is just awesome. Honda gets the transmission every single time. They really do not mess that up ever. And this thing it's just good. Now, I do have a short shifter and shifter bushings and pretty much everything Acuity can offer on these cars. So mine's a little bit tighter and stiffer than a stock SI one, but stock, I still really liked it and didn't mind it at all. I was definitely hoping for a little less traffic as I get on the on-ramp, so I could, show the bit of power that this thing has. And it's not much. I mean, if you look it up online, Honda says 205. It's nothing special. I don't think it necessarily throws you back in your seat, and it's extremely manageable. But it's just fun. I mean, you don't need a whole lot of power in Hondas to have fun. That's why people buy them, and that's why everybody likes them. And this car is definitely more of a handling car. That's why I like it, because I'm not as much of a straight line guy. I'm definitely, curves and having more fun like that, and that's what this car excels at. It is just planted around every corner, and I don't have any issues. We're going up to a couple little curves here, so we'll get some downshifting and see if we can make anything fun happen. It definitely has a little pep, but this is where I love the car. It is just absolutely glued to the road right now. 77 really isn't that fast, but I mean, in some cars, it just like, you'd be all over the place. And it just has so much pushing that corner way harder if I really wanted to. The tires can be a little loud, but I commute about 30 to 40 miles a day in this car, and you know, I don't really think about it. You turn the music up and you're not gonna notice. Like my muffler delete that I have, it can get a little drony, but I don't mind because I can just turn my radio up. I wish more people understood that concept of, if you've got a car like this, it's gonna make a little noise, and that is why we have music. I do also have a PRL short ram intake, so it makes some fun sounds. I don't know if the GoPro picks it up all that easily, but you know, when you're in the car, the intake is plenty loud. And now there definitely is an issue because I live in Iowa and there just aren't any good roads around me. So at some point I would like to take this car kind of out of town a little bit more and find some twisties and really show what this thing can have. But if that's what you're looking for, this is not the video for you. This is not going to be a crazy top speed run or any race car stuff. I'm just kind of giving you guys the know-how on what it's like to drive one of these every day. And I mean, I'll say the question of the video is this really a good daily driver? And I think it is fantastic. The only car I might give this one up for is a WRX, like a newer one, not the older one, because I was kind of scared of my 04 braking all the time, but a newer one just because the all-wheel drive. It snows around here way too much in Iowa, or spring or fall, you know, the weather's just terrible. But when it does snow, all-wheel drive would help. I do miss it about my Subaru, but it's not a deal breaker for this thing. You put good enough tires on it and you'll get around just fine. I mean, I can make it to work, or I can make it to class just dandy. Oh, that's a cool little Accord right there. All right. I did always like those Accords, those coupes. And there's a WRX. Okay. All right, buddy. And we're just seeing all of the cool cars in Des Moines right now, because I'm gonna tell you, there's just not that many. Now, like the steering wheel position, or I guess the feel, yeah, the position and the feel, I like it. Ooh, hello, Shelby GT350. Oh my goodness, this is just a little car spotting. But back to the steering wheel. Now, the stock steering wheel, it's a leather one, it's a little bit thicker and chunkier, and I liked it. I didn't have any complaints. It has a real good, what is this? My brain just died. It has a good feel, good hand position, I guess. Wow, that was tough. That took too long to get there. But when you're holding it like this, it's really comfortable. You know, you can do the cool like this, you know, as some people do. It's not bad. Steering wheel, it's not too far, it's not too close. Is it just right? Just like the Three Little Bears said, or the Little Bear, however that story goes. Alright, that's a little off topic. I, as you can see, switched this out for a Type R steering wheel, the 2021 to be exact, because it's Alcantara, not leather. And, you know, the leather one was just fine. I got no issues with it. But I have always wanted an Alcantara steering wheel in a car. That's why I went with this one. And I have no complaints. I would tell people to do the swap. It was really scary and not fun, because you got to rip all these little panels off and stuff like that. It's terrifying, but in the end, it was definitely worth the time and money I spent on that swap. Someone just squealed their tires. I don't know if the camera's gonna pick that up, but somebody was doing some race car stuff. And yes, the car is super easy to rev match with that clutch and the throttle response. I mean, it just cake. And we'll do a little pull getting on the interstate, nothing too illegal. there's no issues. I feel like it's gonna fall out and total my car. That would be tragic. But I get it on camera, so it'll be cool content. But no, it has get up and go. I don't have any complaints with the power right now. I'm not building this thing for power, because once you start getting power to it, you got to do a couple things, like an aftermarket clutch, because these stock clutches honestly can barely hold stock power sometimes. They're super easy to drive, but once you start modifying the car and doing aftermarket goodies, they just can't keep up with power. So that's one reason I'm just keeping this car more on the stock power low end of the daily drivers, is because I don't want to put a clutch in it. I think Honda nailed it on the head with this car pretty well. I mean, you know, it's a bunch of plastic on the interior and fake carbon fiber, but you're not buying this car. If you want to buy a car that has super nice, luxurious interior, you're gonna go spend 80-90 grand on a fancy European car, or some domestics now are dummy expensive for those soccer moms. But for the price that these cars were when they were new, or that you can get used, there's no issues. It's a good daily. It's cheaper than a lot of WRXs now, and I don't know, for the price, this really could be the best daily driver in its class, minus the all-wheel drive. But if you take away the all-wheel drive and add the reliability that these cars have compared to Subarus, I'm gonna pick this. Now, the reason that I am comparing it to Subarus is a lot. It's just because that's the big thing. Everybody wants a WRX. Everyone goes and buys a WRX. And that is kind of the daily that everybody compares cars to now. Because that's what everyone else had. I had one, I get it. I would buy another one in a heartbeat if it was my second car, just because I'm worried about it breaking. But aside from the little Subaru ramble, that's not important because we're talking about a Honda. The seats in it, you know, as you can kind of see, ooh, look at that. It's not the most aggressive bucket seat in the world, but it's super comfortable. It hugs you just right when you're going through turns. And now I know this wasn't some crazy video, not any racing or fun goodies like that. That can all come at a different time, but this is just a nice little informative, like, hey, this is what I think about my Honda, and I'm content with the car. I'm not going to change it. What the heck is all of this construction? We're going to just do a little spinny-roo because I don't feel like getting a nail on my tire. Well, that's all I have for this video. Just a nice, relaxing, informative drive. If anybody has any ideas on other content to make, please let me know. If you have any questions, shoot it down in the comments. But I have a lot of good ideas coming for videos to make with this car, with maybe some two-wheel things, see how far we get there. But if you liked it, like the video, subscribe for more, and I will catch you all next time.